Good morning. This one's for the ladies, the girls. I should should do it like Bill Cosby. I would like to talk to you today about feminism. Now, if you are a woman, no, we won't go that route, but very important. Specifically, I have, well, I'll tell you what prompted this. I have two very pretty female friends. And this is not the only time pretty female friends of mine have said this, but they said, well, I consider myself a feminist. And usually what this is younger women, although I guess we can't even say that now because you get mostly, they logically approach feminism and take it at face value and say, I am for the equal treatment of women. And I don't think you're going to get any arguments from anybody, male or female, unless they're true bigots about people being treated as equals, people having the same rights as any other. So that's not there. But what is dangerous about that, especially for the younger ladies, is when you say, well, I consider myself a feminist, is especially for the young guys who've had to face this, and especially for people who've had to suffer under it, you're say it's very identical to this. Well, I consider myself a Nazi. Now that may seem a bit drastic, but I'm not joking. I find feminism about as despicable as communism or Nazism, because it is no longer this ideal of let's treat everybody equal. Women should have the same rights as men. It has become, I wouldn't even call an ideology, it's become a religion of its own. And if you say, well, I consider myself a feminist, you don't realize what you're saying. You're not saying to men, well, I believe in the equal treatment of gender or the sexes. You're saying, I associate with this religion. It's no different than saying I'm a Catholic or a Muslim or a Christian, and I believe all the things that come with those various religions. And let me explain why. Most women are woefully ignorant about how feminism has been co-opted by ideologues and virtual psychopaths. I mean, and you don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe me. But just look it up. Because, again, when you say, well, I consider myself a Nazi. Oh, well, okay, is it because, what, they were efficient and Hitler got Germany out of a recession? Is that why you like, the technological advances? Well, okay, I could see that. But you're unaware of the murdering of the Jews, the state police and the Gestapo, and the incarceration of people for saying bad things about him. You're very much unaware. Now, a couple things, just to point it out, and for the love of Pete's, for your own good, go look these things up independently. First, look at most feminists who claim like that's their profession. Women's studies professors, activists, whatever, women's rights people. Are they pretty? Okay? 9 times out of 10, they're not. They're hideous. Right? So there should be something there. You say, well, why are they all ugly? Right? It's not statistical. These women are it's not that, how can I put it? The quote is, there are no ugly women, only lazy women. And it's true. There are no ugly men, only lazy men. If you cannot put forth the effort to make yourself look good to attract the opposite sex, you're very lazy. And if you look at these women's studies types, or these feminists in general, they are hideous. They're not pretty. They're not good looking because it takes too much effort to make them look good. Fat acceptance is another perfect example of this, to its extreme even. Instead of losing weight, which is good for you, healthy for you, and would make you more attractive, it's easier. They're too lazy to do that. It's easier just to blame society as fattists, as bigots against fat people, and to champion fat acceptance, and to make everybody else feel shame or guilt for not accepting people. Especially, here's another aspect. They want men to be attracted to fat, ugly women. Sorry, that ain't happening. That's delusional. That's psychotic. That's not a choice. Right? That's like, telling, here's another one that actually most feminists will agree with. That's like telling gay men there's something psychologically wrong with you because you like men. No, that's how you're wired. Most men are wired to like hot, good-looking chicks. That ain't going anywhere. But feminists, in the diluted form it has, a creature it's evolved in today, really think that they're going to get society to start accepting fat, ugly women. Right? Now, don't get all excited. That's mean. That's it. Forget what's mean. Forget what's not being nice. Listen to what look it up. Look up fat acceptance. Look at the number of good-looking feminist women out there. All right? That's a fact. That's what they're doing. Right? Another thing, going on the laziness route. Feminists, again, they're lazy. They don't want to work hard. They're so lazy they won't even try to improve themselves. They'd rather have the government come in and try and force everybody to their little world. Another example of this, what exactly do feminists do for a living? There's not a lot of feminist engineers or accountants. I know there's the ones that go, I consider myself a feminist. No. If you're in the profession of feminism, you are relying heavily on government money to subsidize you. Women's studies, nonprofits, whatever else you got. Right? And if you look at what the current frontier or the pioneering world, what's the latest in feminist news and feminist ideology, it's no longer the equal treatment of women. It's now going, that's been resolved, okay? You got, we got voting rights, okay, there's suffrage. Women have the right to work. Okay, you've always had the right to work. I won't go into that propagandist BS. Can we admit that the vast majority of these goals have been achieved of original feminism, like Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Stanton, and all that? Can we agree on that? Well, don't you think after a certain point in time, we've achieved this equality, we're done? No. Because, again, these women are so lazy, they don't want real jobs. Do you think they're majoring in engineering? You think they're going to become doctors? It's easier to be a feminist. It's easier to whine and complain and get free government handouts and nonprofits to go and protest. So they have to keep this going. They have to keep up this victimhood mentality. They have to keep up the propaganda and the lies. This is where you see 1 in 3 women were sexually assaulted on camera. No, they weren't. It was 1/50th of 1/3 if you want to look up the actual crime statistics. So what it has become a political movement that no longer, its primary goal is not the equal treatment of women. It's to get as much money so that they can go ahead and continue their little protest, whiny, feminist camp. And you can even see it in what is being churned out. Like fat acceptance is one example. But look at all the different, look at the minutia that is being generated. Look at all the little details and divisions that are starting to occur. They're inconsequential, insignificant. Where you got cisgender and male privilege and what is it, transgender. There's so many I saw one. There's like 15 different categories of different twice gendered, like you have bipolar, like you have split personality, one's gay, one's straight. Look it up. Look it up. The whole point is that it's no longer, let's get women the right to vote. That's done. This is, let's create more crises and problems and victim groups than there really is, so it looks like there's a crisis so we could get more money. Right? Now, what do you want to associate with? Susan B. Anthony? Okay. All right. Rosie the Riveter? All right. Yeah, good. Or do you want to associate, what was it, Dworkin? All sex is rape? I mean, you really have got to look at these girls. They're not women. They are not. They're creatures. And I'm sorry, they're just so deluded and psycho. I mean, you're again. It's like saying I'm a Nazi. Now you don't have to believe me. It's up to you. This is up to you. This is where intellectual honesty comes in. You can go ahead and say, "Well, I still consider myself a feminist," and you can use that word, but realize you run the risk of, not run the risk, you immediately associate yourself with what most modern day men have experienced or view feminism to be. And that is these vile, disgusting, evil creatures. So I don't care, come up with something, say, I'm for equal rights, I'm for this. But by God, if you want, you want to get on the gut, you want to get married to a good guy, you say, you know what, I am so against feminism. You could say, yeah, in the older days, blah, 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 I'm for the equal treatment of women, but it has been co-opted and morphed into an evil religion. And that's going to win you more guys. Now, a lot of the women are saying, what made you think you wanted? Hey, now you're a feminist. You really are a feminist. You don't need guys. Now go get fat and find out why you're oppressed. Find new ways you're oppressed in your the patriarchy and all that other stuff. Before what I'd estimate, even with the brainwashing, I'd say 65-70% of the American women deep down inside do want to get married, do want to have kids. They don't hate men. They like men. really look into feminism before you utter that phrase, I consider myself a feminist. Because chances are you're not. So, just trying to help you girls out in your future love life so you don't shoot yourself in the foot. Toodles.